Okay, I always said that the American economy was vulnerable. People laughed at me. I think people never learned from the collapse of the British Empire. Okay? And when the Iranians were hitting these nominal or so-called Muslim states, people asked me why are they hitting these Muslims? Well, they were holding American bases. And these, if you take the rulers of these countries, most of them were corrupt and they enjoyed their life in the Western system. Their children were studying Western systems and they were not traditional Muslims. So one of the master strokes of Iran was to hit the American bases. Right? Now, America was living on borrowed money. When they got rid of the gold standards, for 50 years they were living on borrowed money. And Americans promised these countries, and these countries were artificially created by the British and the French. I mentioned that earlier. And the Americans promised them security. If you take the security apparatus in America, it's a fraud. It's mostly a fraud. It was mainly done to divert money to certain selected people. And this government has increased, this American government has increased the budget at least by $500 billion. But if you look at their missiles and their military equipment, they are not that up to standard. So I think it was the military thing was a fraud. So the lesson from here is, if you want to have a stable economy, you have to tie it to gold. That is the physics of economics. That comes to entropy, right? It comes to entropic capital. Now, if you take silver is now about $65 and gold is about $4,400. So that is about 1 to 68 or something like that, 1 to 70. Now, silver might increase in value more than gold relatively because silver is used in industry. So, for ordinary people, silver may be the currency because we can store, 1 or 2 kilograms in silver in houses, provided that you can give security for that. So, my appeal to most of the countries in the world to get rid of your fiat currencies. Okay? Now, what if you take this, some of the countries which are aligned with the Americans, they have a very lavish lifestyle, and they because they can't sell the oil, that means they have a severe cash flow problem, right? Because they are not earning dollars, then America doesn't get that dollar feedback. So American economy is in bad shape. Now I saw a program saying that German economy is also collapsing. Why? The energy price is high. So I have always promoted economics based on entropic capital and entropic footprint. So economic depends on entropic capital. Without entropic capital, you can't run economics, right? And American economy is a fraud, and these Americans were looking at few people, end of history, right? And then you have Brzezinski. Brzezinski said, a Polish American, who said that Russians, the Chinese and Iranians will never get together. When you have Russia, China and Iran together, that means half the battle is over, right? And there will be a resurgence of traditional Islam. I only hope that it doesn't become very violent and that it doesn't kill so-called people who have sinned, right? So I hope it doesn't have a negative backlash against the people who are against Iran. That's my fear. I think I would not advocate violence against people who betrayed the Iranians at the altar of American hegemonism, right? So I think we are going to get a new economic order, and I think that if I hope that it doesn't lead to violent backlash, especially in Southeast Asia. And if you look at this fall of the America, it started with Ukraine, because when Americans depleted their military equipment and things like that, and Russians had to pay a heavy price for it. Then the second group is the Houthis, or the Ansar Allah in Yemen. They paid a heavy price for it. So things were a little bit easier for the Iranis because of this Ansar Allah and because of the Russians. And I don't think many people would not believe that the American system would be so vulnerable. But I always said for the last 10 or 15 years the American system was vulnerable. People used to ask me, people said that when is the American system is going to fall? මම කිව්වා මේ වලව්වක් බිඳ වැටෙන අවුරුදු 50 60 70 people used to make fun of me when I said this system was very vulnerable. The lesson here is that you have to understand the physics of economics, right? Whatever you are going to take a leading role, they have to get rid of fiat currencies, right? Now people are making fun out of Donald Trump. Even the Americans are making fun out of Donald Trump, and there are going to be a new economic order, and I hope that this doesn't lead to violence, and the factor of revenge is possibly on the cards, but I hope that these people will be forgiven, and I think there will be a resurgence of Islamic culture, okay? But I only hope that it doesn't lead to much violence, much backlash, right? So I have been vindicated as far as economics are concerned. I have been vindicated, and American economy is a fraud, and it has been living on borrowed money and borrowed time for the last 50 years, right? But it is coming at the seams, and even European countries which went against Europe, against Russia, they are also suffering because of high energy prices. So we will watch out, and I would say that American economics by and large, American economics is fraud. We see the decline taking place in the next 2-3 years, and I only hope that Russia, China, and Iran go into a more sustainable mode of consumption, using gold as the currency, using entropic capital as the currency.